Hello, I am back after a summer of pre-recorded episodes followed by rebroadcasts of old episodes. I am back with you in nearly real time. Now I actually record these a week before you listen to them, but this is as real time as it gets, honey. Today we are going to talk about how to recover from your summer, because maybe you, like me, need to recover from the summer mindset and get back to work. So whether you took time off or you got tons of work done or you had to do a lot of shows or you went on vacation, the question is always, how do you get back into it and move forward and reach your goals before the end of the year? Welcome to Explore Your Enthusiasm, episode 274 with me, Swiger. Today I'm going to give you an update on a couple of the things you've been asking about in my life for my summer, and we're going to talk about how to learn from your summer and move forward, and then I will share how I am applying that process to my own business and the changes I'm making. First, I have to thank you. Thank you so much for being here. The fact that you're hearing this means you stayed subscribed, whether it was on iTunes or it was on YouTube. Thank you for sharing it with your friends. Thank you for leaving a review on iTunes or for commenting or giving me a thumbs up on YouTube. And thank you so much to those of you who have supported the show on Patreon. I'm going to be thanking my patrons and linking them up over the next several episodes in September, everybody who became a patron before September 1st, but it is not too late for you to support the show. So if you want to support the show and get some bonuses every month, head over to patreon.com/TaraSwiger. So first up, I gotta thank longtime patron who has been with me. She is a ride or die, JC of bandofweirdos.com. JC designs such awesome stuff. I met her in person I think last year or the year before. She's an amazing person with a really awesome history and business idea. And over at Band of Weirdos, she makes geek-inspired pins, patches, and stuff. I proudly wear my Band of Weirdos pin on my jean jacket. I especially get comments on Cat Spock and the pin that says Slayer's Gonna Slay. So if you are a fan of geeky, nerdy, or rock and roll things, go over to Band of Weirdos and see the pins there. JC didn't write that. I wrote that because I just love her. She's been a long-time patron. I also want to thank a long-time supporter and friend, Lisa Check of Flying Goat Farm. Lisa is actually a Starship graduate. She was in the Starship program. She brought me to Maryland Sheep and Wool for me to teach there, which was an amazing time, and I got to meet Lisa there. She's a farmer with Angora goats and sheep, and she turns their fiber into amazing yarn that she dyes in beautiful colors. I've seen it up close and personal at our booth at Maryland Sheep and Wool. So you can get that yarn and fiber over at flyinggoatfarm.com. And thank you, Lisa. I love you. So I had a summer that needs to be recovered from. On May 30th, two toddlers came to live with us, ages 2.5 and 3.5. For those of you who are new here, we're foster parents, and these are this is our fourth placement. So kid number 4 and number 5 who've joined us since we became foster parents at the beginning of last October. These sisters are so sweet and so loving, and they have just absolutely flourished and opened up, and they're hilarious because they're toddlers. The young one has gone from quiet and shy, who whispers, to a tiny little chatterbox, which, I mean, she may be getting it from me, but they're just completely fun and silly, and we're so blessed to have them in our lives. But adjusting to living with two toddlers has been its completely own challenge. Forget parenting the toddlers, just the body and emotion adjustment is huge. In fact, I spent the first month that they were here, I napped every time they napped, and I napped every time they left the house. We are so blessed that they were already enrolled in preschool, and we've kept them there to make the transition as easy as possible, even though it means driving an hour round trip twice a day. So it looks like they'll be with us until the end of September. They have a court date on September 26th, which is where we will learn more, maybe, but they'll probably only be with us towards the end of September, beginning of October. If you want more updates or you want to see the back of their adorable little heads, make sure you're subscribed on YouTube, where I do weekly updates from behind the scenes, or watch my stories on Instagram, where I have almost daily updates, not always about toddlers, just about whatever's going on, but that is the quickest way to find out what is going on with the kids in our house. So now that I am 3 months into this parenting two toddlers gig, I am at the spot where I feel pretty capable of some thoughts on most days. That's significantly better than how foggy I was all summer long. So I've been thinking a lot about how to get back into work, and I've been obviously doing work kind of all along, but not having the mental capacity to come up with new projects or start new things or feel like I'm making a lot of progress. So I know this is a question a lot of you have. How do you get back to work? How do you move forward? You might be in the same place because your kids were home for the summer, and so you had them with you all the time, and getting work done with them there was different than them being in school. Or maybe you traveled a lot for shows, or maybe you traveled a lot for fun, or maybe some emergent thing happened in the summer and so you needed to step back from your business. Or maybe you don't have any particular reason, you're just ready to move on from the summer and get back to your business and start new projects for the rest of the year and reach your 2019 goals by the end of the year. So we're about 4 months from the end of the year. So you may be feeling a bit freaked out about the goals you set and how you're going to reach them. That's what I want to talk to you about today. To start with, we're going to expand on the good, because I am sure there are a million things that you didn't get done. There are a zillion projects that you wanted to start and didn't. It would be easy for you to list all of the things that you should have done and haven't. But if you try to operate from a feeling of feeling behind, or you try to catch up, you're just going to feel scrambly. Now, spell check tells me scrambly isn't a word, but I've decided that it is. So you don't want to feel scrambly, because you can't be productive if you're feeling scrambly and you're always scrambling to catch up. So we're going to start by expanding on the good. To do that, I want you to answer these questions. So either get out a piece of paper and answer them, make a voice to text note on your phone, or head over to taraswiger.com/podcast274, where you'll see all of these questions in the transcript. You'll see the video there, the audio there, and then you scroll down and all of these questions will be there. I really want you to write down the answers to these questions, because you're going to look back on them and come up with ideas moving forward. So the first question is just a general one. What went well this summer? I want you to list anything that went well, even the things that aren't work related. You can hit pause if you need to in between the questions to write out your answers. What went well this summer? Next, what in your work was easy? So what in your work was easy? What was easy to do? What was fun to do? What was just like you didn't really have to think about it, you could just do it? What were you excited about? What, when you sat down to do your work, got you like, yeah, I'm excited. I'm like, ooh, I'm looking forward to doing this. Maybe you couldn't get to it all day because other things came up, but you were excited to sit down and get to it. What new ideas did you have? Now, you might need to flip back through your planner or journal to look at the notes you wrote down and what ideas did you have. Even if you haven't had any time to work on them, even if they seem totally crazy, collect them all up. You just want to collect your ideas, because we're going to make connections. Now, what projects are you excited to work on in the next season? Maybe you've been waiting for a specific date to get started. Maybe you've been waiting for a specific thing, like your kids to go back to school, or your in-laws to leave your house, or the hurricane season to be over. I don't even know when that is. But what projects are you excited to work on in the next season? Now, I want us to look back at what the other stuff in your summer. So what did you try this summer? Or, by the way, for those of you in Australia, you just look at whatever your last season was. So this winter, what did you try that was new in your business or in your marketing or in your life? What did you try? And what worked well that was new? And what did not work well? Now, in every season of life, we aren't necessarily always trying a bunch of new stuff, but if you're in a season where a lot of stuff is changing, then you're always kind of trying new things, and some of them are going well and some of them are not going well. Maybe it's just like you tried a new way to organize how you meal plan and then get groceries and then make dinner, and that worked great, or it didn't work well at all. Sometimes we forget that we're making changes all the time, and we can just assess if it's working well for us or it's not. Now, this is the important question. Why do you think that is? Why do you think what went well went well? Why do you think what didn't work out, why did it not work out? Now, the answers to this question are the lessons you learned this summer. It is very easy to just go on and not learn the lessons and make the same mistake again and again and again. In fact, so many people, when I talk to them about what they're doing in their business, they try something for like 2 weeks and then they don't see the results they want. So they wait 6 months and they go do the exact same thing again for 2 weeks. When you try something, when you experiment, you need to give it some time to get some data from the experiment before you decide if it worked or it didn't work. But you also need to assess if it worked or it didn't work. You don't just go, well, I don't know, I'm going to stop doing that and I'm going to start doing this. You can do that, but you'll be very scrambly. As we've discussed, scrambly is no good. So now we're going to zoom out and look at the much bigger picture, but I don't want you to freak out, okay? It's okay. Now, what were the goals that you had for 2019? If you use my book, Map Your Business, then you wrote them down in that book or in a journal. Pull it out and look at it. Now, Map Your Business guides you through doing this process at the end of every month, and then doing it really in depth at the end of every quarter. But a lot of times you just forget to pull it out. So it's okay if you haven't been using it every month. Pull it out now, look back at what your goals were at the beginning of the year, and look at any of the quarterly reviews that you did. So which of your goals have you already met? Because sometimes you might be surprised to find you've already met a goal and you didn't even realize it. Almost every quarter, I hear from a Starship captain when we do the quarterly review at the end of a quarter that, oh my gosh, I hit my yearly sales goal already and I didn't even know it. Because if you don't do your numbers every month or every quarter, you're not going to know when you've hit the goals you've set. So look at what your goals were. If you need to do some math, go do some math, come back, and mark off the ones you've already hit. Because remember, we're starting from a place of expanding on what's good. We need to know what's good. Now, what of those goals are you ready to let go of? Like you see them and you think, I actually don't want to reach that. Maybe I don't care about them. Maybe you realize that's not the direction you want to go in. Maybe you worked towards it and you realized that it involves some things you don't want to do. What are you ready to let go of? An example of this is several years ago, I put a book proposal into the world and it was rejected by 15 publishers, and that I found that out at the end of July. So for that year, like one of my goals had been to get a book deal. I let that go for that year. Now that goal will come back. I will have the goal of getting a book deal and getting the book published, but I just let go of it for that year because I had tried, I did everything, and then I was ready to let it go. I was just ready to move in a different direction for a while. So what of the goals that are left really excite you? Like, ooh, I'm going to work on this. I am definitely going to work on this. I cannot wait to work on this. Now, this is your official permission slip from your official business advisor. Doesn't matter that I'm coming to you free on a podcast. I'm still your business advisor. This is your official permission to let go of all of the goals that don't excite you. That's right. If only one of these, maybe you had 5 goals written out, only one excites you, just let go of the other ones for now. You're not letting go of it forever. You're just letting go of it for like right now. Focus on the one that you're most enthusiastic about because you're going to be able to make the most amount of progress if you focus on it and if it gets all of your energy. So you may be listening right now, especially if you're not writing these answers down, if you're driving or you're washing dishes or you're taking a walk, and you might think, yeah, review my goals. Okay, review my goals. I know that. But I need to get back to work right now. What does this have to do with getting back to work and recovering from my summer? And please, this is so important. Don't skip this. This is a very important step in being productive and on staying on the right track. Because you could jump right back into your work just doing the things that you think you know you need to do. But if they're not aligned with and moving you towards something you truly care about, you're going to get burnt out. And you're not going to have the energy, and you're going to feel frustrated that you're doing all this work and you're not seeing any progress. These are the reasons why people quit their business or quit following any dream, is because they feel like they're spinning their wheels and they're not getting anywhere. Well, one of the keys of getting somewhere is putting your spinning wheels on the track, on the path to the goal you want. So it is easy to get stuck in the day-to-day of what you think you should do without it ever lining up with and moving you forward towards you really want. But do you know what solves this? Regularly looking at your bigger goals and changing them. Changing your goals based on what you really want and what you've really learned about yourself. Changing your goals and changing how you move towards your goals. If the lesson you learned this summer is that you really hate doing X or doing Y marketing tool, you just saw no response whatsoever. It led to 0 sales. Then learn from that. Change whatever you're doing or the goal you're working on based on what you want, on what's actually working for you, and then focus in on how you're going to get the goal you want, learning the lessons that you've learned. So we've let go of the goals that we're not excited about. We focused in on the goals we want. We know what worked well over the summer in life, in business, what we're enthusiastic about. Now, so the next step is to look at all of the answers to the questions and start to combine them into a plan. Okay, how could I do this thing that was fun to reach this goal? How could I integrate that? Sometimes this is going to take a lot of creativity. Sometimes this is going to take some brainstorming or some time. But how can you work more on what you're enthusiastic about? How can you reach your goal based on what you learned this summer? What other ideas are you having? That's why I wanted you to write this all down so you could see it in writing and start to make connections. To make connections between maybe things that are very, very different, but you're starting to see ways they could work together. And maybe it's not creative or weird at all, and it's just like, oh, obviously that's what I need to do. Now I know that. That could be it. But your plans might look totally weird, and no matter what, whether they seem weird or they seem normal, this is how you build a business that stands out, that is different from other people, that doesn't just blend in and is just like one of a bunch of Etsy shops. This combination of learning the lessons your business and your customers are telling you, and then applying it to your own enthusiasms, that is how you come up with a business that's different from what other people are doing. It may lead down a weird path, but you'll be moving closer to what you find fulfilling and to a business and product that your people in your community actually want and will pay for. So this is not something I just talk about. This is a process I do myself. So I'll tell you in a minute what I came up with when I did this process. But first, I want to do a giant thank you to a longtime patron, Marietta of Inner Yarn Zen. She does beautiful yarn, and I popped over to inneryarnzen.com, and I noticed that she has a yarn advent package available, which she has some inspired by Game of Thrones, and she has some inspired by Outlander, and I know y'all are a bunch of nerds along with me, so you are going to be excited to hear about those. She didn't send that to me. I just knew you'd want to know. So you can find links to Marietta at Inner Yarn Zen, and Lisa of Flying Goat Farm, and JC of Band of Weirdos. You can find links to all of them over at my website. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, scroll down and the link will be on YouTube. But it'll also be at tarswiger.com/podcast274. Now, when I did this process myself, here's what I came up with. I'm going to walk you through my thoughts, hopefully in a way that makes sense, but of course they were in my own head, so here's hoping. So even when I was busiest with toddlers, it was always fun for me to do these few things, and I actually stopped and make a note of like what was fun because everything was really intense. So I make my gratitude list, and I was paying attention to what was coming up again and again in my gratitude list outside of coffee and the library's wonderful children's section, which was my saving grace. Okay, so other than coffee in the library, which we already know I'm a fan of, there's a few things that was easy for me to do, even at the most scrambly of times. And that was chat live with my Starship captains each week. I do it Wednesday at around, well, now it's 11:30 a.m. because appointments. But chatting live with them each week was easy and fun for me to do, and it like gave me energy. Also, always easy, reading books. Also, watching booktube videos. Booktube is YouTube about books. So there's a lot of channels that are people talking about what they're reading, what they liked, what they didn't like. They're reading life. I love all that. If you listen to one of the most recent new podcast episodes, it came out at the end of June. It was your summer reading guide. In that, I talk about some of my favorite podcasts about reading. So this summer I discovered BookTube. Also, what was fun for me is to make videos specifically about what I was reading, or the plan with me videos, or kind of whatever struck me. I just found myself getting lots of ideas for things I wanted to do, like short videos for that aren't a whole podcast episode and maybe aren't even about how to run your business. They're just video ideas that kept striking me. So I, over the summer, participated in several reading challenges, and I vlogged my way through them. Now, for those of you who don't know, because I always get this question, a vlog is a daily or weekly video journal. So it's like an old school blog or journal, but with like video from the day or week. And I found that so much fun to participate in these bigger events and do a video log of my days and my weeks. It was just super fun. And I wouldn't have thought that, because what I did not find fun was like doing as many Instagram stories, going as live. Like, it was more fun to like shoot some video and then edit it together than it was to go live, which in the past the opposite has been true. But I think the changing schedule, the changing like hair, when I would wash my hair, and just all of it, and it's kind of all emotional and vulnerable, and so going live felt a little too vulnerable, but doing video still and then editing it felt more at the pace I was at. So much fun. But the thing is, it's only tangentially related to what I do for work. So what I do for work is guiding and inspiring women to craft businesses and lives around their enthusiasm. But everything I just said that was fun is only kind of tangentially related, right? If you're being real, like if you're not being creative and making connections, you'd be like, well, those two things don't have anything to do at all. But the thing is, it's about following my enthusiasm, and it was giving me energy. So anything that gives you energy, that fills you up so you could do something more than just nap after it, is something to pay attention to, especially when you're in a season of your life that's exhausting. So I gave myself permission to focus on it, at least for the summer, to focus on these fun things just for the summer, while I had already pre-recorded the podcast and was taking a bit of a maternity leave. That's what I would focus on. And like I said, it's always easy for me to do the weekly accountability check-in in the Starship, which is great because I love the Starship itself. I love the community, but I also love what it provides for women. It's deeply aligned with my bigger mission in this life, and I want to open it and make it even more available to artists and makers this fall. So I created a list of new bonuses I'm creating and tools I'm making to make the Starship even more effective at helping transform your business. And I'm going to be announcing all this soon on the podcast. If you want to hear about them before I mention it on the podcast, you can go to taraswiger.com/starshipbiz. That's going to be the place for you to learn about everything in case you like miss an episode of the show. That will come right to your inbox. taraswiger.com/starshipbiz, B-I-Z. So yeah, go sign up there if you want to know more about it. But that's one area of my business that's focused and settled. I know it's in alignment with my bigger goals. It's in alignment with my mission. It gives me energy to do and work on, and I find it easy. So check. That's there. But what about the area that was fun and easy that is like not, seems a little weirder, right? Making more videos and talking about books and reading books. Is there a way to integrate that more into my life or my online life, or should that just be my hobby, right? Like, I also really love hand quilting, but that's just my hobby. Like, I'm not trying to integrate that. I'm not trying to sell my quilts yet. That just popped in there. So one of the things I tried this summer was participating in reading challenges, like I told you, and hosting a book club. And I made the book club only available to Starship captains and to Essential Oil customers. I didn't do it on Instagram or Facebook or for any of you podcast listeners, but that went so well and it had great participation. So you might realize participation and engagement online is kind of down across all the tools, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. People aren't like engaging in the same way, maybe because the algorithms, maybe because whatever, but that book club had a level of engagement that I hadn't seen in anything I had done online for a while. So I realized that I could take that idea, as I was looking at all these ideas together, and I could host a new book club for anyone who wants to join. And those would be people who want to hang out with me more, who want to see more. Maybe the Starship isn't right for them, or maybe they're not at the place in their business where it's the right next move, but they would like to do something like a book club, and maybe they want to see more of these weird videos. Maybe they want to see how I use my planner, or reviews of thrillers, or some of these other videos I want to make outside of my just one video a week. So I could put all of those together for people who want to support the show or want to hang out more. So for $2 a month, you can support this podcast, make it more sustainable for me to keep doing it, and get at least one extra video each month, and join the book club. The book club is going to be one where you vote on the book we read first and next, and then we'll all read it together. And I'll run it kind of like I ran the last one, if you're familiar with that, where I do either a video or a text post every week where I point out, if it's a nonfiction book, I'll talk about the points that I'm learning, how that connects to other business lessons or other business resources. If we read a fiction book, we'll do it like a book club where we talk about, the themes, the questions, what we thought, etc. And we're going to do that together on weeks where it's possible. I'll do live videos for those book chats. We'll all be live. If it's not possible because of foster care placements, we'll do text live chats. So that's a book club. You can join it for $2 a month. If you want to support the show even more and actually tell me more what to do, both specific podcast topics to cover here on this show, you'll get to vote on exactly what I cover. And you'll get to vote on adding a book to my own to be read list each month. You can pay $7 a month. You'll also get a shout out on social media. I'll take you for coffee when we're in town together. So to join either of those programs, you go to patreon.com/Tara Swiger to join the book club, to get the extra stuff, to get shout outs. So nothing about this podcast will change. You will still get free episodes every single Wednesday. However you're listening now, make sure you hit the subscribe button. You can watch it on YouTube if you like, and you'll also get an extra weekly vlog video if you're watching over on YouTube. You'll get the full transcript for free, all spelled out with links to everything over at my blog, taraswiger.com/blog. And on the podcast, we're going to keep talking about what we've been talking about, which is not seeking other people's approval and going after what you really want in your business and life. We'll talk about how to plan and reach your goals. We'll talk about charging what you're worth and valuing yourself and your work enough so that you can make a real living doing what you love. And we'll talk about how to share your work without feeling gross. That has been the topic. Sharing your work without feeling gross has been the thing I've talked about since the very beginning when I started helping businesses almost 10 years ago. And it is the thing I'm most passionate about, is you valuing and sharing the thing you're excited about, and sharing it without feeling gross or being spammy or anything, and yet still being able to make a living from it if that's what you want to do. So if you support the show, you're going to get the extra videos, the book club, and more. But most importantly, you're going to make this free show available to more people. Not everyone can afford $1 or $2 a month. If you can and you do it, you make it available. You also make it sustainable so that I can help more women craft the business they want, so I can keep encouraging you through your hard times, so I can keep taking time to parent my foster kiddos. So by supporting the show, you're making all of parts of my mission and our mission more sustainable. So I just want to thank you again for being here through what has really been the first ever break I've taken from the podcast in 4 years of podcasting. I am so looking forward to the new podcast episodes I have planned. I'm looking forward to what the Patreon bosses are telling me to podcast about next. The Patreon bosses are the people who are supporting at $7 a month. We've got a bunch of really good ideas planned. And if you are excited I'm back, tell me, say hello, leave a comment on YouTube, leave a review on iTunes, and then come tell me, how are you recovering from this summer? Come tell me over on Instagram. I'm Tara Swiger there. You can leave a comment on my recent post or tag me in your post or send me a DM. Instagram is the best place to reach me. So over on Instagram, I'm Tara Swiger. You can find links to everything, including the amazing patrons who support the show, over at taraswiger.com/podcast274. I will be back next Wednesday, and I hope you have a fantastic, enthusiastic week.